Today, Sarah and I are going to make some pizza dough with a pre-ferment called Poolish. So we're going to have equal weights of flour and water, and we are going to put just a very small amount of yeast into it. Now here this may seem like a lot, but we're doubling our recipe, so really about this much yeast needs to go in. Since we're doubling it, we're putting all of it in. Now you can use either a Danish dough whisk, a wooden spoon. I'm going to use this little rubber spatula to incorporate all these ingredients together. As you can see, it's going to be a very wet dough, and we're going to allow this to rest overnight on the countertop, and it will triple in size. So now all the flour has well been incorporated, and we are going to put it into this food-safe container where it will rest at least overnight, maybe just a little bit longer into the morning. Now magically, we already have some that we made last night, and I'm going to show you what it will look like. We'll cover it up and set it on the counter, and here this is the small amount you see right there. Now let's check the one that has rested overnight. You see how nice and airy and bubbly it is, and this is what we're going to use as a pre-ferment. Now that the Poolish is ready to go, here we have the flour, to which we're going to put the salt in. And again, this is, like I mentioned before, a recipe that is doubled. I'm going to make a well right here in the center, and we're going to put just a small amount. Like for instance, with the recipe on the website, it would be just a very small amount of yeast, but since we're doubling it up, I'm going to put a little bit more in there. And now we are going to loosen up the Poolish by pouring water right on the edge of the Poolish, and this will allow it to come out much easier. So I'm going to pour the Poolish right in here. We're going to use this little rubber spatula, and we're going to incorporate everything in. Until there is no dry flour left. As you can see, almost all of the flour has been well incorporated, and now I'm going to be able to use my hands. Let's wipe all this off, and we're going to be able to use our hands, the best tool in the world, and bring it all together. I'm kind of using my hand as a spoon and going around. This is one way of mixing the dough, and it will also incorporate some air into it. Or you can use the stretch and fold method, but you see the gluten strands are not developed yet, and so the dough kind of rips. But after we let it rest for about 10-15 minutes, you will see how wonderfully it comes together. 15 minutes have gone by, and the dough has been covered with this damp tea cloth, and the dough still looks quite shaggy, but you will see as to how much more extensible it is and how the gluten strands have formed. Now here we can do the stretch and fold, where I stretch until I've sense resistance and then fold it over. We can either do that, or we can also place it on our work surface. So it needs to be the clean work surface. We're gonna get it out. And we can also do by stretch it by placing my hands under and slapping it down like this. So put my hands under like so, and then almost trap air on the underside. Now this method is best with a dough that is a lot more hydrated than this one. Then of course we can just knead it this way as well. Once again, this amount of dough is going to seem very large to you compared to the one you're going to make from the recipe, and that's because we doubled it up. Once again, we're going to put it back in here, cover it up, and allow it to rest for another 10-15 minutes. Time is up, and once again, I can either use my hand as a spoon and do it this way, or we can once again use the stretch and fold method. And look how nice and smooth the dough already has become. Which I can see all the nice air bubbles already forming. We're going to cover it back up and allow it to rise. Our dough is beautiful. It has been able to rise. Now we're going to place it right here on our work surface, and then we will divide it and shape it into the balls. So let me turn our scale on. And let's see, right here, just a bit more. There we go. And we're just simply gonna tuck it under, just like so. And here we have our first pizza ball. Once again, we're gonna weigh it. Perfect, look there, right there at 200. And we're gonna keep doing this until we have shaped all of the pizza balls. Take a little off. It's all right. One thing that you can do is place it on the work surface, put your hand around it, and kind of make friction with the table, and that also will cause to have a nice dough ball where everything is tucked underneath. Here we have these stackable, wonderful little dough trays that fit perfectly in the refrigerator, and they come with a lid. So let's put our dough balls right in here. And these will be put into the refrigerator overnight. Now these dough balls are actually kind of on the larger side. You could make them smaller and make smaller pizzas, but for right now we're gonna make it this way. Place them all in here, and tomorrow they will be perfect to stretch and make delicious pizza. If you don't use all your pizza balls for your party, you can always set one or two aside for your next batch, and that will also improve flavor. And we're gonna close it up, and they are going into the fridge. Here we are the next day. We took the dough trays out of the refrigerator, and now that they're at ambient temperature, and we are ready to get started.